Okay, so I wanted to give you a run through of all the functions of the Klein bottle. This prototype is working, but it has some issues, which I'll explain in the video. Um, they're not something that, in fact, it's probably even just this pedal because I've been hacking through it and modifying things, um, and so it'll be pretty easy to fix out any of those little glitches. Anyway, I wanted to show you the basic functionality though, as it is right now, and kind of show you how it works. So, first of all, it's got 3 effects loops, 1, 2, 3, and I've got connected in this one a compressor with a tremolo, and this one a delay, and that one a reverb. Each effects loop has dedicated controls. It's kind of hard to read from here, but that's a mix level, so that controls how much is being mixed back into the signal that you're hearing. This is a pre that controls how much signal is going into, how loud it is going in there, so you can drive. If you got a distortion pedal and you want to drive it harder, you can use that. Or if you want to keep it clean, pull it down. Up here, you've got a high pass filter and low pass filter. The combination of those two essentially allows you to use them as a band pass, meaning that I can choose to send a set of frequencies to there. Like if I wanted to send certain mid frequencies, or just the low frequencies, or just the high frequencies. You could even use all 3 of them to set them up as kind of a crossover where your bass goes here and your mids go here and your treble go there. Down here, this switch down here actually affects how steep the slope of these cutoffs are. So at 6 decibels, those cutoffs are really gentle, and so will be really natural sounding. At 12 dB cutoff, it'll be more aggressive. It won't be as natural sounding, but it will be better if you're trying to like really isolate a frequency. So this is just actually like how the standout and the pinball and dragon work as far as that switch. So these feedback loops, you can feed them into the other ones. So here this says 3 to 1, which means this is effect loop 3, and I can choose to feed it into effect loop 1. So that the output of this one goes into, so this is like the tremolo goes into the reverb. Okay. And then this would go to 2, so I could feed some to 2, so I could feed as much or as little as I want. And then I can feed it back, so if it could go into the reverb, but then back into the compressor tremolo thing. And so that combination, especially with time-based effects, can produce some really unique things. You start feeding back distortion and fuzz pedals on each other, you might get some self-oscillation, some crazy wildness. So anyway, that's how all these are set up. And this is the on-off switch for each of the 3 effects loops. This effects loop here has a phase shift, kind of a phase correction control on number 1 here, so that if you're blending 2 effects and one of them has an inverted phase, you can correct that, or you can actually intentionally try to cancel out certain frequencies and kind of mess with the combination of the tone as you blend it. So at +1, that means it's not inverted. At -1, it is inverted, and then as you sweep through that, some are inverted, some aren't, and some are in between, between 0 and 180 degrees. Anyway, that's if you're a recording guy, you should know what that knob does. Here we got a master control. This is the dry signal volume, and then this trail switch is kind of unique. In the middle, as soon as I turn this off, all the signals just immediately cut off from that, which is what you want if you're using, say you have like distortion pedals and you're using a bunch of distortions. You don't want all that noise that the distortion or fuzz is generating constantly in the signal path. In this all position, that means that when I turn this off, the input is cut off, so there's no more input fed to it, but the output continues to be fed into the signal. So that's great if you've got a reverb or delay and you want them to echo out, and you want them to decay naturally. Now this sends one is unique, so it is, when you turn it off, it will cut out the mix signal, but it won't prevent you from sending stuff to it from another effect. So say I had these 2 on, and this one was sending something over here. Well, if I turn this off, and it's in the middle position, not only does this cut off, it doesn't even take any input from over here. There's nothing coming around. So if you have the send on, now I can send stuff out of here into one that into effects loop that isn't even turned on, and still actually do stuff with it. And yeah, so that's kind of the, right, it's a lot of complexity. It's a lot of stuff in the pedal. And the one thing I wanted to note is how the signal flow goes. So it goes in to the pedal, and then it immediately goes to the high pass, low pass, and pre controls. So the band pass filter and this pre-gain are the first thing it sees. And so it's split into 3 parts. So it goes to each one separately, parallel. And then it goes out the effects loop when you turn it on, and then back in. And when it comes back in, that's when it goes to the mix and to these feedback loops. So that means that, and then when these sends go to send, they go sending directly to the loop. They don't go sending through the filter and then to the loop. They go directly to the loop. So for those of you who are super technical, there you go. There's answers to your questions. I don't have like a professional microphone setup going on. It's just a little lavalier mic. This is just intended to show you how it works. Let me just show you what happens when I use the different effects loops. So here I have it going into the compressor and tremolo. And if I wanted to send the lower frequencies, okay, and this would be like a mid-frequency setup. And that'd be, whoa, pull that back. This would be trebles. And you can also open it up, full range. Okay, so here I set it up for the input actually goes into the delay only. So notice to turn the pre down here so it doesn't actually go into this. There's no signal coming through this effect loop there. But when the delay comes back in, I've cranked up it to feed into there. But then I turn the mix down. So actually you're hearing the signal from here, but this is getting its signal from there, which is getting its signal from the input. So it actually ends up, you can actually change the order. You can put them in series like that. So but then if I actually wanted to give some of the dry signal, I could do so. Or if I wanted the delay output mixed in with the delay tremolo output, I can, put some of that in. So I hope that made sense. It's just kind of a lot of sonic options there. So I want to give you an example here of this phase knob in action. So these two effects, they have effects levels, but the dry level is constant. So even though I've got the dry all the way down here, these are providing their own dry because they don't go fully wet. But since they're essentially, the dry is unity, if I invert the phase of this one, it should cancel out the dry and leave just the wet signal. Probably a little too much signal for it to handle, so let me pull that down. So anyway, you can see, you can kind of mess with it that way. But I'm going to actually maybe keep that back in. I'm going to actually play them off of each other, so I'm going to feed back one into the other. So right now you can, but if I start feeding them back into each other, let's have some fun, crank those pretty good. Let's give it some more. Oh yeah, I gotta be careful with that going too crazy. Okay, and so just because I can, I just turn them all on and feed them back on each other and all this cool stuff. Okay, so as you can see, there's quite some glitchiness, and I've kind of narrowed it down. It's actually looking to be on the output switching, because right now that's where I'm having issues. So anyway, I just want to give you a functional rundown. Obviously, we'll get those quirks ironed out and all that kind of stuff, but I wanted to show you how it works. And yeah, if you got any questions, just let me know. Thanks. Bye.